Hello guys, this is Avcoor, and I'm actually going to do the tier list for SR units. This is important because I know you see a bunch of SSR units on here, but we're not going to focus on those guys because for me, as a content creator, I'm always trying to help people play the game better, and you cannot play this game on a budget and have a bunch of SSR units. That's just not going to work. But I'm here to show you what units in the SR pool are really good. So you'll see a bunch of units and I'm not going to touch them. I'm only going to talk about the SR units. And I'll show them in according to the value that I think they possess. So let's get started. So we'll just go through the line here. So first of all, I'm just going to start tossing the R units in C tier. So he goes in C tier, he goes in C tier, she goes in C tier. Alright, let me see this. She goes in C tier. Actually, Future King actually has potential. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. And we'll put Sawyer right here. So the reason I put Sawyer and Future King in B tier is because they actually can be used to a degree, but they fall off after level 50 and 60 content. But if you do not have units that you can readily use, they are good. These guys are absolute trash. I just think Future King and Sawyer have a little bit of potential, but not so much that you would fully invest in them. Just around level 30 or 40, trash them, and that's just the way you should go. But let's see who else we have that is an R unit. So that should take care of all the R units. And I will not be using these characters because they eventually turn to SSR units, so I'll not be using them. So now we can get started with the real tier list. So this guy, Armand, what will I say about Armand is that he is not S tier material. In fact, he's actually B tier. He's better than these guys, but not by much. The thing about Armand that hurts him is his stat line is okay. The fact that he's a team leader is okay. It's just his overall skills and utility are somewhat limited. He needs to be around characters to support him, like Sanakin, like Yig, Nola. If you are a really strong Nola player, then he can go to this tier. But until then, he stays in B tier. But if you get him to rank 7 and 8, then I think you should use him if you're playing on a budget. But otherwise, he is absolute dog blank. So now we look through here and we see her. Guess where I'm going to put this character? You're going to be shocked. But if anybody plays this game, you shouldn't be shocked. This is one of the best budget tanks in the game. As a light tank, she does not have weaknesses, and that's the first thing you have to focus on is the fact that she has no weaknesses. Her stat line is pretty good. Her attack is middling, but her defenses are pretty solid, and that's what you're asking for a tank to do. And her unique passive allows her to heal off and dispel debuffs. She is not as good as Gabriel, but on this tier list, you're not asking her to be as good as Gabriel. You're asking her to fulfill a role and do it really well, and she can do that. So if you get this character at rank 5 and above, and you're on a budget and you're not interested in using Gabriel, then I think she is a very safe and strong investment. So now we go through here and we find this guy. Guess where I'm going to put him at? if you notice my videos, then you know that this dude is top tier. I would say that this guy is one of the best budget wizards in the game. He struggles to heal like light priests, but that's because their element is stronger. But he boasts one of the highest magic attacks in the game. If you want to scale that, if you actually want to scale that, he has one of the highest magic attacks in the game. He is just a glass cannon. You want to avoid AoEs at all times, but his ability to drop stats and deal damage is unparalleled. A really, really good unit. The only problem is, like, in my account, I messed up and built William, but if I didn't build William, I would have used my extra um, rune seals on him because he is worth it. So, we move down the line, and this guy. This guy is dog vomit. The thing about his kit is, as a warrior, you would think he would be incredible because warriors are the most potent class in the game, as they are the most versatile unit that you have access to. The fact is, his damage is scaled off a crit, and he does not have regeneration in his kit. Like, Sanakin gets regeneration through his unique weapon. Sighart gets regeneration through his unique weapon and his unique passive. Gabriel gets regeneration through her passive. Who else? Even Peacock gets regeneration through her passive. Who else? Even William actually can produce regeneration in his skill set. Who else? Who else is actually? And Charlotte and Jen actually have ways to sustain themselves. This guy cannot sustain himself. So in long-term battles, unless you have vampire, you're going to suffer mightily. And his damage output is far less than those units because he has few ways to do extra attack outside of the regular skill that allows you to attack twice. And he doesn't have enough damage mods, so he is absolute garbage. And Sanakin and Capet, which you get for free, actually outperform him in every aspect. So he is just dog vomit. I wish they would like upgrade his kit, but I don't see the people at zlonggames actually improving their characters much. We'll see in the future, but I doubt it. So now we go through the line and we're looking and we're looking and we find her. She is actually S tier. The reason why I say this is everybody does not have access to Marguerite, and even though I have access to Marguerite, she's only rank 3. And I keep finding myself using her over Marguerite for the simple fact is she actually has decent damage output and buffing potential. And on a budget, you really can't argue the fact that having a light wizard is just having a light wizard. And she also has teleport, though you have to move through her traits to get it. Yet still, she is an extremely good unit. And if you are needing a generic wizard, she fills the role really well. She uses instruments, much like this guy, so you can actually switch their gear. But I would, yeah, she's middle tier, but that's not bad. Like I said, everybody doesn't have access to Marguerite, and I don't think you should be punished for that. So that's why I actually want to talk about this character and let you know that she exists and that she actually has potential. Do not feel bad about using her if you do not have Marguerite, because Marguerite actually fills in a lot of holes in a lot of teams. So she'll do the same, but not as good. Lohane. Lohane is one of those characters that you think you would get rid of after your account gets to a certain level, but you just can't seem to because he actually is a solid healer that you can get to rank 9 easily. And I can't stress how important that is to get a healer to rank 9. Healers actually don't need to be built as high as tanks and warriors, but if you can get them built, they're incredible because when they actually rank up, there are two stats that you want to focus on: HP, defense. The magical defense, for whatever reason, is always S. I don't know why that is. It'd be interesting if you had a healer with high physical defense and low magic defense, but that is never the case in this game. So ranks matter, and if you want to increase survivability, they matter. And this guy is one of the few healers that can rank up fast. That's why I put Future King above the rest of these guys, because she is just a healer that can get to rank 9 easily. And if you need that role filled, you just have to do it. I don't think you should ever invest in the Future King unless you have the resources, but if you need to, she's an option because it's hard to acquire SSR units in this game. So this is the only R unit I would ever ask you or suggest that you invest in, because I tested her on Chin server. She's decent, but her healing output is low. But when you look at Lohane's, his healing output is really good for what you get out of him. And the fact that every time he heals somebody, he puts a buff that reduces 30% of the damage they take on the first hit. That's not bad, and that's why he sits at triple S tier. So, our free-to-play assassin that you actually can get from, if you pay 99 cents, you can actually buy her. I actually would put her in SS tier because, simply put, assassins are really good if you can actually build them quickly. Excuse me. She is leagues ahead of this guy by a long shot. She has a passive that the amount of squares that she moves actually increases her damage dealt. It's like attack defense clash from the Fire Emblem mobile game. This actually sets her apart for a lot of units in Archeland, as most people do not have this passive. I have not seen that passive on any other unit but her. And the fact that she comes with a team leadership skill that only requires 3 females is absolutely incredible. She actually has a team leadership skill, but it's too specific, and I don't like it. His team leadership skill only requires 3 water units, which makes him really, really OP. This guy requires 3 lightning units, but he's just so bad that I can't really justify you spending time into him. Unless you get him to rank 9, I don't think you should use him. Anyway, another character, and you'll be shocked where I put her, but anybody who plays this game knows that Melissa is one of the best tanks in the game. Melissa actually is like Freya from not Fire Emblem, but Landgresser, as she does a lot of fixed damage. And fixed damage goes a long way in PvE content. It's not great for bosses, but it is good on Ominous Dream. It is good on story mode. It is good on dungeon maps. She's a really good unit. It's just like she actually competes for space with Millet, but nevertheless, she is a solid tank. And in a game where tanks are actually hard to build, the fact that you can easily get her to rank 9 makes her very appealing. Like this character is very appealing. So I say these two characters are really good for a budget account. These are really good units to have. These two are really good units to have. So let's go through. These are all SR. So let's talk about Shersha. Shersha is an A unit, but the reason why her potential goes higher is the fact that you have to ask the question if you have Charlotte or not. If you don't have Charlotte, then she's clearly an SSS pick because you need a water warrior. I don't think she is as potent as the characters in Triple S tier. I don't think she's as good as Lohane's. I don't think she's good as Melissa. I don't think she's that good. But Shersha always has a special place in my heart because I've actually used her to a degree in the beginning of the game when I first started out. And her damage output is amazing. It's just the fact that she's There's two strategies that come to mind with a warrior. A warrior wants to hit a lot, and a warrior wants to recover HP while they're doing it. Then there's Sersha. She presents a third strategy that I don't think has been perfected by the devs, where you hit really hard and then you add fixed damage onto that attack to hopefully finish off the opponent, which in theory is a good strategy, but it's not executed well in her character design, and I think she really suffers for that. I don't think she's a bad unit. I just think that a couple of fixes here and there, and she'd be a really, really great unit. But she's A tier to me. So now that we go down the list, and we have Nicholas. Nicholas is an excellent unit, but he's not triple S tier. I don't think he deserves to be there, but he is SS tier. The thing about Nicholas is the fact that Nicholas, Sighart, and Ballet form a really reliable red core. And even though Nicholas himself is not good, it's the fact that Ballet is free, Melissa is free, and once you get Sighart, you actually have a strong team leader, and you form a red core very easily, and you're able to clear a lot of content that requires red characters. So even though he's not triple S tier, his potency comes from the fact that if you get Sighart, then you really don't need a tomb until much later, where his stats hold him back. But for the most part, he clears most of the content in the game for a red team. So that's why he's double S tier. And the same with this character. She fills in the hole for a dark team, which is really important. So does he. I personally use both of these characters to get to 27 in Trio branches. And they only have 2 trait lines filled. These characters only had 2 trait lines filled, and I took them to level 27 in branch of trees. Now think about if their traits were unlocked. Like if I had 3 lines and I didn't waste my time on William, these guys would be like so awesome. But that was not the case. So when you look at Nicholas, realize that he actually fills in the gaps of a red team pretty easily. Like there's like 3 fire wizards, and he is the cheapest to build. So I think we're at the last unit. So yeah, I think we're at the last unit. I think this is the last SR unit. I mean, there's not that many SR units. Nope, none of these are SR units. Wow. See, this is where Zlong failed with this game, not producing more SR units, because that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. That's it. That's not good. But anyway, William is not that great of a unit. I personally built him to rank 9 and unlock all his traits. And I do use him to clear content. I will admit that. And he has cleared content, albeit his overall performance was lower than every unit that I had on the team. There was always a time when I had a turn with William and I had to debate whether I wanted to attack or not. And that's never good with a warrior. You want to attack all the time with a warrior unless you're in a bad spot. The warrior should be using his or her turns to attack. And these two units always have that struggle where when you play them, you actually have to consider if you want to attack. Like even him, you have to consider if you want to attack with these 3 units. And that's never a good thing. The thing about William that sucks is the fact that his color is right, his stats are good, but his skills are so underwhelming. It's like they didn't give him none of the good stuff that other warriors get. They gave him nothing. Even Sersha has a little bit more than what William has. It's just the fact that I actually got him to rank 9 really quick, really fast, and I decided, what the hey, let me see what he can do. And when I found out what he can do, I was just really upset because his performance is really, really low. Like Sersha is actually better in a couple of ways than him, and her overall damage potential, she exceeds William. William just has an ability to purify stats, and even his unique passive sucks. The fact that he can attack you before him, I mean, like, that just sucks. I mean, it's not as good as Jin, and it never will be because Jin can attack from 2 squares away with that skill. It's just overall sucks. William, like in the light core, he did like perform. Like I had William and her, and I was able to clear content that way. But there are just so many units in the light faction that are better that I really can't justify putting William higher than that. He's a little better than these guys, but not by much. And that's it for the tier list. These 4 characters, if you are not spending money, I highly advise that these characters are must builds for you. Like you see her, you see him. I mean, you see her and you see her. That's like 2 pieces of the light core already being built. You see him, you see her. That's 2 pieces of a fire core that's already being built. You see these 2 characters and this character. That's 2 pieces of the dark core that's already being built. And you see Sersha and you see the Haynes. Those are 2 parts of a water core that's already being built. Like the green units actually suck when. Like the SR green units are just absolute trash. And that's why I think that green is way more expensive to build than the other colors because you need Richard. It doesn't work without Richard because there's not a strong tank in their faction. There's a green tank. She is a green tank, but she is just so bad that she cannot keep up with the damage output. So you need Richard, and he's a green like archer, but he sucks so bad that you kind of need Seminar. She's a green wizard, but she's not doing as good as Nola. So so green is just like suffering hard, man, because of these 2 characters. They just can't cut the mustard. And I want you to think about that because the next couple of videos, at least once a week, I'm going to put out a video about these characters and why they are good and why they are bad and my ultimate assessment of them. I'll do all the SR characters, and if I have like time or patience, I'll do the R characters to let you know how they function because it's always good to know how something works. But anyway, if you like my content, hit the like, share, subscribe button. I'll get back to you. Have a great day and goodbye.